Good evening. Welcome in daily newspaper editorial program. Today is 22 September 2025, Monday. Now headlines. Hello Swadeshi. The Times of India. H1B visas obstacle want to be a headache. The Economic Times. Recalibrate to navigate shifting global winds. Uranium unrest. The Hindu. Now full editorials. Hello Swadeshi. The Times of India. Globalization is not dead. Globalization is not dead, but self-reliance is spotlighted in PM's speech across sectors is now an urgent necessity. It was very much against the backdrop of yet more Trump policy damage to India that PM addressed the nation yesterday. Both the themes he picked, GST reforms and Atmanirbharta, speak to what's needed to keep our economy robust in the face of global headwinds. With Indians getting almost 70% of the H1B visas that were issued in 2024, obviously the country will be the most impacted by a one-time $1 lakh fee that exceeds that median annual salary of India's H1B visas holders. This is on the heels of Trump imposing a 50% tariff on Indian export to US and revoking the Chabahar sanctions waiver. But there is turbulence from other directions as well, whether it is China reminding India of its rare earth vulnerability or Europe also taking an anti-immigration turn, deep and wide as different countries' economic ties still remains. Clearly, a new phase of globalization is now underway, where India really has to watch out for itself in a way that's perhaps never been needed since liberalization 1991. As Modi reminded yesterday, we have gotten out of the habit of thinking whether or not the comb in our pocket is India made. It is also true that India's large domestic market is what provides relative resilience to external shocks. The test of GST reforms as they become operational today will be what savings they pass on to consumers and thus spur demand. But they are definitely in the necessary direction as of meaningful movement in the direction of at Manirvarta that will again as Modi's speech undefined needs center and state to work together. States governed by different political parties will need to act in concert. From chip to rare earth to pharma to defense, India's dependencies in sector after sector are all traceable to its abysmal R&D ecosystem. The private sector has shown a confoundingly poor appetite for this spend. So pretty places aside, Government of India has to ensure something fundamentally shifts in the research and innovation space. That is what government of China, South Korea and Taiwan got right, and India must as well. External uncertainties have as no other option. It is possible that the H1B visa will see India benefit through more GCC's expansion, but it is not impossible that MAGA's crusade for tariffs on services succeeds, flooring even on this opportunity. Shifting global stands call for India to keep plans B, C, and D ready. It has to create, build, and deploy more nimbly than it ever has. H1B visa obstacle won't be a headache. The Economic Times. expect pushback from Silicon Valley legal action. The labeling fee for H-1B visas is designed to raise the the cost of hiring an entry-level immigrant worker in the US to roughly the median income for technology workers in the country. The one-time $1 lakh fee is spread over a 3-year visa tenure would make hiring an immigrant 33% costlier to the US technology companies. The equalization levy will have an even lower marginal impact if it is not reimposed on extensions, which typically add another 3 years. The median labor cost of companies in the S&P 500, which include large tech firms that primarily utilize the H1B program, are around 14% of revenue. This covers the 4MN technology workers in the US who should not be affected by the new fee. The additional cost on the annual H1B quota of 65,000 can be absorbed by the US technology industry. Moving from from deterrence to unintended consequences, technology jobs above the median income level are unlikely to discriminate in favor of US born workers. The further key rise above the threshold, job paying less than the median salary. The target of the fee will favor Americans only in these jobs remain in the US. Without a complementary levy on outsourcing, such petitions can be exported since Indians hold over 70% of H-1B visas, low-skilled technology jobs, and jobs in the US could increasingly be performed in India. The existence of the H-1B program reflects a recognized labor shortage in the US technology sector. A quarter of US tech jobs are held by immigrants who rapidly reach pay parity with the domestic workforce. Critically, foreign-born workers contribute a disproportionately high share to economic value of US patents, making the H-1B visas a holy cow for Silicon Valley, which supported Donald Trump's re-election. Pushback against the fee can be expected alongside possible legal challenges to the US administration charging such an extraordinary amount to recover the cost of processing applications. Recalibrate to navigate shifting global winds. The recent mutual defense pact between Saudi Arabia and Pakistan comes significant implications for Asia and raises numerous questions about regional alignments. The rationale behind the South Pak Agreement remains unclear, with references made to Israel's attack on Doha and the US unpredictably, while both signatories insist that the deal has been in the work for some time. Donald Trump's support for Pakistan has revitalized the country's geopolitical standing, and Islamabad's agreement with Riyadh reflects that newfound status. The pact has clear implications for India, ranging from Saudi Arabia's stance on terrorism and state-sponsored terror activities to evolving economic partnership. It formalizes Saudi Arabia's support for Pakistan's nuclear program, even as Islamabad continues to rely primarily on China for defense. Informally, it creates a chain of relationship that could further strengthen China's influence in the region. Coupled with Trump's decision to revoke the 2018 waiver on sanctions for the strategic Iranian port of Chabahar, these developments complicate India's regional engagement and bolster China's position. The future of IMEC could also be affected. As New Delhi monitors these geopolitical shifts, it must recalibrate its global engagement. National interest and strategic autonomy remain critical considerations rather than adhering to multipolarity. a 21st century euphemism for spheres of influence. India should pursue partnership grounded in common enterprise, shared values and principles, strengthening ties with Europe, Britain, Japan, and Australia, while forging new avenue of cooperation with Africa, the Indo-Pacific, and Latin America should form a cornerstone of India's strategic vision. By balancing pragmatism in principle, India can navigate these evolving dynamics, safeguard its interests, and reinforce its role as a confident, independent, independent actor on the global stage. Uranium unrest, the Hindu resource extraction projects should have the people's consent. The center's decision to mine uranium at any cost from Meghalaya after deliberations with local leader proved futile. It is a troubling benchmark in India's history of resource extraction. Khasi group have opposed the exploration and extraction of large deposits in uh, Domiacet and Wah- Wahakazi since the 1980s. Recently, the Union Environment Ministry issued an office memorandum OM exempting the extinction of atomic, critical, and strategic minerals from public consultations. Local groups have already condemned the OM-based route. One associated with the ruling party has called on the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council to use its sixth scheduled power to protect tribal rights. OMs are executive instruments that erode uh, procedural safeguards and are issued without independent scrutiny. In this case, the OM reduces stewarding communities to bystanders in decisions with profound consequences for them. This is not the first time that the government has moved with force on the matter of uranium. The Uranium Corporation of India Limited has conducted operations in Jharkhand's Singhbhum district for decades. While hearing for expansion or new mines were met with protest over radiation exposure and loss of livelihood. Villagers have also alleged that the corporation issued notices in unfamiliar languages and disregarded objections. For tribal communities, the experience has reinforced the perception that their land remain a resource frontier for the rest of India. In its conversations with the local leaders, the state should have respected their refusal, but has instead signaled that no is no longer an acceptable answer. Uranium mining is highly polluting and can irreversibly alter the landscape. This is why free, prior, and informed consent, as under global name, is essential. If such consent is unavailable, it it behoves the same state that instituted the democratic protection to stop testing uranium as the only route to national security or development and to weigh other deposits, substitutes, or even generating strategies. Now the communities might consider challenging the OM's validity in courts, banking on precedents such as Niamgiri 2013 and invoking protections under the fifth and sixth schedule. Second, the ministry must withdraw its own by exempting the mining of several minerals from public consultation. It sets a precedent that can reshape mining governance across India. Finally, if local protests intensify, the center should one more respond with dialogue, cohesion, while achieving its goal in the short term will only breed resentment later. It is obliged not only to maintain order but also to ensure that constitutional protections are realized in practice. Thank you.